Hey, welcome to Genre Exposure, a film podcast. Join us as we explore the wide world of cinema, broaden our horizons one movie at a time. I'm one of your hosts, Dustin, and as usual, I am here with Jason.
Hey, everybody.
What's up, my man?
You know, hanging in there, getting along, doing good. About yourself?
Doing pretty good. It's been a fun week. Ready to talk about some movies.
Yeah. You've got some big news, though, don't you?
I do, yeah. Pursuant to the end of your story of finding a new job, I have now also found a new form of employment.
Yay!
Today was my last day at my job. I say fond farewell to my coworkers. Love you guys. You're super cool. Wish you all the best.
So no more horror stories from Dustin.
Not as such
work.
for the foreseeable future.
All right.
Should have plenty of more movie watching time now, too, so
Excellent.
excited for that.
Excellent.
But today, we're talking about Jackals from 2017, directed by Kevin Greutert, who you may know from some Saw films.
Yeah, I did
Among
not
other
know
things.
he did the Saw films. I didn't realize that till after I watched the movie and started doing a little research. I was like, oh, no wonder Dustin likes this fucker.
Yeah, he also he's edited some films too. He was the editor on The Strangers, which may also be apparent by this movie.
Yes. I was also kind of surprised to see he edited one of my favorite recent films.
Oh.
Cobweb.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, I may have to give that film a little more credit
Oh,
then.
now
Yeah.
maybe you like it. Yeah, okay,
Well, I mean,
whatever.
let's be honest. The editing wasn't the problem in that film.
Oh,
so.
fuck you.
Oh, but I'm bearing the lead. So, first we're gonna do all our usual stuff. Talk about what we've been watching. And you know what? We're part of the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, and we love it. And I shout them out a lot, but I'm gonna do it again.
Do it.
You know of a place called Brett and Tony with Ash and Abe.
Mm-hmm.
They're one of our sister podcasts on the network. They dropped an episode about Mr. Boogedy, man.
Mr. Boogedy.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Oh, man. I haven't seen that since I was a kid.
Go give that a listen and show it some love. If you don't know what that film is, it's like one of the quasi-horror films that Disney actually had in their catalog.
Yeah, back when there was like the Disney Sunday night movie thing or whatever.
Back when they actually thought kids could be allowed to be a little scared, you know? Didn't need to be like bubble wrapped and stuff. They had several, right? There was like Watcher in the Woods and a few others.
Sure.
Yeah.
Something Wicked This Way Comes. They produced that.
Yeah. But Mr. Boogedy, man, it's a hoot.
Ooh, Escape from Witch Mountain. Did you ever see that one?
Yeah,
that
yeah.
That one creeped me out when I was
pretty
a kid.
good.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if you're already subscribed to Disney Plus, you owe it to yourself to see Mr. Boogedy. Maybe wait till October, you know, make it like a Halloween thing.
It's the perfect time.
It's not a great film, but man, it's a fun film.
Yeah,
So,
I enjoyed it when I was a kid. I think your youngsters might like it.
yeah. It's for the children.
You know, for kids. We probably should mention that sadly Emmett Walsh passed.
Oh, yes.
And he was like, dude was in over 200 movies.
A legend.
Things like
true
Blade
legend.
Runner, The Jerk, Blood Simple, Knives Out was probably one of his last notable appearances. Great actor, great character actor.
He will be sorely missed,
He will be.
but his legacy shall live on forever.
Indeed. Might have to watch some of his films sometime. I did recently rewatch Blade Runner. My God, that movie is so good.
God, it's so good. Yeah.
I think it gets better with age.
That being said, what else have you been watching?
Well, did I mention the shows I've been watching last time? I can't remember.
I don't think so.
Well, I've been watching Masters of the Air on Apple Plus. It's wrapped up now.
Okay.
And if you like World War II movies, if you're like an old dad type, which apparently I am, even though I have no children, it's great. It's all about like, you know, B-17 bombers and stuff like that. Really good. I recommend that highly. And I've also been watching Shogun
Oh, yes.
on FX, which is fucking
I haven't
awesome.
started it yet, but I'm excited.
Oh, dude, it's so good. It's really good. And I love the original miniseries and the book.
The original's classic, yeah.
And this is holding up. It's doing very well. I like it
That's
a lot.
excellent.
Yeah.
I'm always a little worried when it's like a redo of something like that, but I'm glad they really like put the work in.
Yeah, they get it. They understand it. And it's actually it's really well. I mean, they've probably spent a lot of money on it because it looks really good. But as far as movies, I recently watched something that escaped my attention when it came out in 2022.
Oh, okay.
Did you know that there was a sequel to the WNUF Halloween special?
I did not know.
Neither did I
okay.
until I stumbled across it somewhere. It is called the Out There Halloween Mega Tape.
Okay.
It's by the same director
All right.
and writer, Chris LaMartina. And did you like the WNUF?
Yeah, it's fun.
It's fun. This is equally fun. It's pretty much more of the same, although this time it's set in the early 90s.
Oh, okay.
And I think they actually do a better job with the commercials. I mean, dude, they nail it. They fucking nail it. And there's no repeats. People were upset in WNUF. They would play the same commercial twice, which...
That's true, though.
That would happen,
Yeah.
right. But there's no repeats in this one. Every commercial is different.
Killer. Yeah, it's a great little format.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. This one leans more into comedy than horror. And that makes it... 'cause the last one was a bit uneven. The horror really wasn't there.
Right.
So I kind of like that they lean into the comedy more. I think this is better, is what I'm getting at. This is an improvement.
I mean, hey,
it's more focused.
It worked for Tobe Hooper with Texas Chainsaw Massacre, so
right.
Why not try it?
Well, the first one was funny anyway. This one really embraces the comedy. What was I going to say? Oh, you would like it. There's like little nods in there for horror fans. Like there's this great commercial. It's basically like Pound Puppies. You know, these little dolls you get.
I am a child of the 90s.
And the producer of these little dolls was called Toulon.
Oh, Puppet Master reference. Yeah. Killer.
So little things like that in there.
I'm in for it. Yeah. Okay.
I think you would like
Sold.
it. It's kind of a bitch to find, though. I wound up watching it on Daily Motion.
Weird.
Because I couldn't find it streaming anywhere else.
Is there no, like, home media release?
I think there is, but it's sort of scarce.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah. So it needs more love. People need to go out there and watch it.
Okay. Well, keep your eyes peeled for that one.
How about you, man? What have you been watching?
I got a tale of two films. I'm checking back in with Error 4444.
Yes.
Releasing label that I quite love. They're devoted to weird Asian cinema. I believe the last time I spoke of them, it was Red Spells Red, and Centipede Horror, which were both fun and, for me, quite challenging. And their next wave of releases has dropped. Got them in the mail, tore through them immediately. Was surprised with my results.
Yeah.
One film I didn't care for as much, one I really loved, and it was not the sequence that I expected.
Yeah, okay.
So I'll go low first and then end on a good note.
All right.
So the first one is Scissor Penis from 2019, directed by Naoyuki Tomomatsu.
Okay.
Now, if you're into weird Japanese cinema, you're going to know this guy. He's kind of one of the splatterpunk directors. Was in like also that wave of like when we got them released over here, and I think the title was like Sushi Typhoon, stuff like Tokyo Gore Police. Which that was, I believe, what Nishimura, I think, that directed that. But
he did Stacy. Remember that one?
Yeah, this guy, he did Stacy. He did Vampire Girl versus Frankenstein Girl. He's directed all of the Lust of the Dead series, which may or may not be known by its actual Japanese title of Rape Zombie.
I love the Japanese.
He did the Zombie Self-Defense Force. Just a lot of really...
You like zombies.
Really over-the-top, low-budget, usually pretty racy underground horror films.
The way it should be.
The way it should be. And so I thought that with this kind of pedigree and a premise such as Scissor Penis, I was in for like the ultimate gem. Because I'm just going to hit you with the synopsis, Steve, and just kind of frame you on this.
Okay.
Kamataro Deba faces immense difficulty with women, and even after he finally marries, he enjoys a sexless life where his wife cheats on him. He kills her and dumps the body parts in the mountains, where his wife's ghost curses him and causes him to turn into a monster called Scissor Penis. Now, doesn't that just sound like an amazing film?
So does he have like scissors for penis now?
Yeah.
Okay.
He chops her up with a knife, and he throws it into like this river in the mountain. And then her ghost comes back and offers him... It's like a pun on that thing of like... You throw the knife in and it's like, oh, here's this silver knife or this gold knife. Which one did you throw in? Or is it the dull knife? And it's like if you tell the truth or whatever, you get rewarded and stuff. And it's a big, weird reference joke to then just be like, no, you get them all. And they become his like... When he becomes aroused, it's like blades erupt from his crotch. There's 3 of them.
Okay.
And they're kind of like scissors.
All right. So it's sort of a play on like, what was that movie? Hanzo the Razor? Is that what that was called?
Maybe. They do directly make a reference to Edward Scissorhands, which I thought was interesting.
Not the porn version, Edward Penis Hands.
Ooh, is that a real thing?
That's a real thing.
Ooh.
Yeah. 90s, brother.
Okay. No. So, I don't know. I wanted a dude who's a monster with scissor penis, and that he runs around and attacks people, and then I don't know. It's over the top and crazy. The trailer has a chick in a bunny suit costume, like bunny girl with like the ears and like the leotard and stuff, and she's got a katana and she's fighting him.
Okay, well, that sounds promising.
So I was like, dude, this is going to be some crazy shit. And it is crazy. And I think if you're like new to weird Japanese cinema, it might kind of catch you that way where you're like, oh my God, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Right.
But for me, it was like a little...
Well, that wears off after a while.
It didn't go far enough. And then like... It's shot in a weird way where it's like it starts in the middle of things. Like it begins with that fight of like the bunny girl and scissor penis dueling in like a park.
In media res, yeah. Okay.
And then there's like narration from the dude who becomes scissor penis. That's kind of talking about his life.
It's like you're probably wondering how I got here.
Yeah,
how I got
a little
these
bit.
scissor penises.
And so it's kind of bouncing between that, and it's got that very like rapid fire, like the narrator's just like going to like point to point.
Yeah.
And so it's talking about his life and how he became scissor penis, and then it's also talking about like the history of like laws related to like criminal offenses regarding sex in Japan and like censorship, and almost like it's a documentary about that kind of stuff at the same time. And then it's got this really weird tone where I think it's meant to be a parody, but like this narrator who is the main character is like making a lot of these comments about like I'm gonna say a little like incel-y.
Right.
Stuff like, oh, women have all the power, men have no power. Only attractive men can get women. If you don't have attractiveness, you have to have money, and it's exchange, and blah, blah, blah,
Is this
blah.
like a filmmaker manifesto, you think?
I don't want to think that of him based on his... I mean, his other films are pretty racy, and,
Or is he making fun of the whole thing?
That's the thing. I think it's supposed to be parody and make fun of that whole, like, incel culture thing.
I hope so.
It never, like, felt like it went the whole way with that or not. And then, like, there's so much cut around, and then things will happen, and it's a fake out, and it was just a dream that he had, and they do that, like, 4 or 5 times, and it kind of loses its punch.
Fuck, I hate that so much.
And the whole time I'm just wanting, I either want this cool, badass, like, anime ripped-off sword fight, or I want scissor penis on a rampage, and you barely get any of that, really.
No.
And there's only really one scene where you actually get, like, the payoff of, like, what this would be, where it's, like, he's about to hook up with someone, and then he gets really aroused, and then, like, the swords burst out into the chick.
Right.
And it's, like, actually, like, horrific and scary, and then that's one of the dream sequences.
No, so it doesn't even happen.
Yeah, and then it's got, like, this goofy tone a lot of the time, and there's this whole subplot they get into about, like, idol culture and how, like, the dudes are really obsessed with the singers and that they're supposed to be pure and virginal, but in truth, they're actually sleeping with people.
Yeah, and then people find out and commit suicide.
Yeah,
over it.
and they try to go into all of that, and it's, like, very, like, well, I don't want that story. I want scissor penis, right? This is scissor penis. Give it to me. Isolate that audio, huh? So, yeah, it was just kind of all over the place, and, like, I don't know. In there was, like, the kernel of a cool idea, and it just never seemed like it gelled together for me. And yeah. So,
well, I'm bummed that you were upset by scissor penis, that you did not enjoy it.
Pretty bummed by it. I gave it, like, a 2, I think. Like, I don't regret watching it, but I don't know that I would ever run to watch it again.
We shouldn't run with scissors anyway. Or scissor penis.
The bunny girl, who's, like, the leading lady in the thing, she's played by Sasa Honda. She's a pretty cool actress. She's been in some of the Kekko Common films. She was in one of the Zero Woman, like, more modern films.
No.
She's in Attack Girls Swim Team versus Undead,
Okay.
which is another of that, like, splattery punk era of Japanese films. I think she's also in Bloody Chainsaw Girl Returns, which was just a chick with a chainsaw running around chopping people up, which is pretty cool.
Okay, sure.
So a lot of love for her. She was great in it, but overall, I was pretty cool on it. So
I'm sorry.
So yeah, it didn't do it for me.
So what's the one you did like?
So the one I did like, let's go in a different direction. This is from 1993, Run and Kill. It's a Cat 3 Hong Kong film.
Nice. We gotta do more Cat 3 movies.
We do need to do some more. And this one's kind of like a weird, like, I never understood what it was going to be until I got into it more, but it's like, it starts and it has that very, like, it does the Category 3 thing where it's, like, ultra goofy at first.
Yeah.
And it's just this dude who's a really overweight guy, and he's got a sexy wife, but she hates him, and they got a kid, and he's just living his life. He runs like a grocery gas station store kind of place, and he's just having a good time living life.
All right.
And then he discovers that his wife is cheating on him.
Oh, okay.
And really upset and disheartened by this, he goes out on a drunken bender. And he kind of flirts with this random chick, and she sort of puts him up to be like, oh, you should just hire someone to kill your wife. Why not?
Sure.
And she's doing it because she realizes he has a lot of money, and she can like scam the money off of him.
Oh.
And so she kind of acts as a middleman to hook him up with a hitman. And he tries to ask the hitman to like, I want you to like just embarrass them really bad and scare them and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But in his drunken stupor, the hitman's like, okay, you want me to kill him? I'll kill him.
I heard kill.
Takes his money as a down payment. Next thing he knows, he goes home in a drunken stupor, finds his wife still with the dude, and then, like, triad members break in and, like, slaughter everyone but the main guy. And then he gets caught up in this weird thing of, like, the cops are after these people, trying to, like, apprehend them already, and so they want him in the mix on that to, like, use him to catch them. And also they think maybe he did actually pay for the hit on his wife.
Mm-hmm.
The people he put the down payment with by accident, they want the rest of their payment, which is like a ton of money now because they killed a person for him.
Sure.
And they're trying to get the money from him, and he's like, I didn't want that. And it becomes this whole cat and mouse game of like, he's in the middle of all of this, and it's spiraling out of control.
All right.
And as it goes, it just gets progressively more and more over the top. To the point that eventually he pisses off the wrong person, and it's this crazy dude who's like a veteran of the Vietnam War. And this dude becomes completely unhinged and devotes his entire life to destroying the main character and basically like ruining him in every way that he can.
All right. So this one you'd recommend?
Dude, it was super fun. I really loved it. Had a lot of like emotion and heart in it, even though it was over the top and crazy. It was funny when it needed to be funny. Lots of good action when there was action. And man, it's one of those things like, do you remember when we watched Righting Wrongs and it was like, oh, this is a pretty fun film, and then it got like fucking dark right at the end?
Yes.
This one takes one of those turns too, and I guess I'll spoil it because it probably should also be a warning to you if you're thinking of watching this. There's some child death in this. Some straight up child death, yeah.
Oh, goodness. How shocking.
This madman, he abducts the main dude's daughter and threatens to burn her alive in front of him while he's tied up. And yeah, he fucking goes through with it.
That's Cat 3 for you. I love it.
And they even do the weird, like, knee-jerk comedy thing where then the next scene, he has, like, the daughter's charred corpse and he's trying to run away with it. And it's, like, bumping and parts are dropping off of it.
You can't take that seriously.
It's insane. But, man, it was super fun, super raw. Really enjoyed it. And in the special features, there's a video essay by Erica from Unsung Horrors.
Yay!
And, of course, I checked that out. It was super fun.
The whole kid death thing, I was going to say.
It hits on that angle, and it goes into like kind of how that's used as a function in films in America and contrasts that with Hong Kong films and Cat 3 films and the ways that they depict child death, which are, of course, much more varied and interesting.
They depict it as funny like it should be.
It is a video essay, so all the stuff she's talking about, there's clips of the scenes that she's referencing.
Nice.
So I picked up a bunch of stuff from my watch list for that, because,
very good.
As you know, I am still like a neophyte on Cat 3 stuff. So.
Yeah. Well, there's plenty I hadn't watched because they just haven't been available.
Always appreciate resources to get me in there on stuff. So.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, all in all, don't regret those purchases, even if Scissor Penis was a little bit of a miss.
Came up short.
Is what it is, you know.
Bad.
But otherwise, let's get into Jackals.
Okay.
Alright, so today we are talking about Jackals from 2017, directed by Kevin Greutert. Let me just hit you with the synopsis right out the gate. Set in the 1980s, an estranged family hires a cult deprogrammer to take back their teenage son from a murderous cult. But they find themselves under siege when the cultists surround their cabin and demand the boy back.
Yep, they sure do.
Straightforward. Cool.
Yep.
What
genre is it?
Well, IMDb says it's horror, mystery, thriller. I'll give it horror. I'll give it thriller. I don't know so much about the mystery.
It's not a mystery.
There's not much mystery.
There's no mystery.
Yeah.
Yeah. Horror, thriller, sure. Those work.
The gore does go pretty far. It kind of has that like vibe of a torture porn film, but I don't think it is one of those. I
disagree.
It never goes that hard.
That's a point I'll get to. It doesn't go far enough to make it interesting.
And then I think we can give it the home invasion subtag
Yes.
kind of thing.
Yes.
Because it definitely has the structure of that.
And cult horror.
Yeah.
Throw that in there.
True. Do we need to talk about cult deprogrammers? I don't know if that's like a thing still.
I think it is.
Probably, but
MAGA people seem impervious to it, so,
Well, in the 80s, though, because of the Satanic Panic, it was like a really big thing.
Right.
Which is interesting that they set this film then to kind of sync up with that.
And it is a real serious thing, too,
Yeah.
because people do fall prey to cults, and they do need to be extracted from them. But yeah, they were people, deprogrammers, were hopefully people with actual experience and knew what they were doing.
They weren't just unhinged war veterans like in this film.
Right, exactly. Yeah, they were actual psychologists and stuff. So yes, and it's a good concept, but does the movie live up to the promise of the concept? We shall see.
I'll tell you this: there's no jackals in it. 1 star. So.
0 jackals.
No actual jackals.
Well, we begin like a good horror film should in 1983, where you get a very Halloween-like POV.
Oh yeah, this is total just send up to John Carpenter.
Got some dude walking in the suburbs. He's going into this house. At least he likes kitties.
Yeah,
because there is a cat laying outside, and he pets the cat.
He's a good guy.
Sure, he loves cats.
His heart's in the right place.
That's all that matters.
I like the context of this. That like we don't know if this is his home. We don't know if he's breaking in somewhere.
I kind of thought it was his home because he lifts up this potted plant. And there's a key.
Yeah, he knows where the key is.
So it's at least someone who knows these people, or just lucky guess. Yeah, he goes into the house and he finds a sleeping couple in the bed. He takes, he's like rifling through the dresser and he finds an envelope full of money. He takes it, but there's some scissors on the dresser. And he's like, "Hey,"
he pauses on him.
Yeah, he's like, "I'm gonna get myself a little trophy." And he goes up to cut the lady's hair, but she wakes up because a dog barks.
Yep. Which they set up nicely too, because it happens when he first goes into the house, and he kind of pauses,
Right.
and then he waits, and the dog stops, and then he keeps going.
But doesn't it sound like the dog's in the house barking? I didn't see a dog in the actual house.
It's vague, I would say.
Yeah. So the woman wakes up, right? And there's like, "Oh fuck!" So he just stabs her, and this is all still POV. The husband wakes up. "Oh fuck! I stab him too."
Yeah. Hell yeah. That's what you do, right?
That's what you do. No half measures.
Yeah.
Then he goes to an adjoining room, and there's like a teenage girl in there, and she recognizes this dude. Calls him Adele, I think.
Yeah.
Not the singer. Not to be confused with her. It's not that Adele.
Man, that would be a fucking film, though, right?
That would be interesting.
POV slasher starring Adele.
Yeah. But she's like, "Oh, you're back home. Why are you all bloody? What's happening here?"
And as it sinks in, she starts to lose her shit and kind of goes to check on the parents.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it does not become stepsister porn. So, you know.
Whoa. Okay. Huh. This is where he gets the mask, though, right? He sees a mask.
Yeah, he's got like a bag with him, and he takes out this like bunny mask.
Puts it on. Then it's full on Halloween at that point.
Right. And the daughter's like, "Oh, my parents are dead. Oh my god." So he goes in there and kills her too.
Yeah. Yeah, fuck this family, man, right?
Yes. Fuck this family. And then we get titles, and it says based on true events.
Yeah.
Which I question that
well,
veracity.
I'll tell you this.
Yeah.
I put in the work this week. I cannot find a true event that this is based on.
No.
I do think it is broadly kind of based on some ideas of things that happened in the past. The nature of this cult is very Manson family-esque, I would say.
Yeah.
They have like one iconic figure that everyone kind of answers to. They portray themselves as a family.
Yeah, sure.
And this idea of them kind of just go in this opening, like going into a house to take money and then kill the people.
Lots of talk of piggies and things like that.
Yeah, it felt very Manson-esque.
Yeah.
So I think it's inspired by that, but it's not based on any actual thing. So, but slap that in the titles and see what happens. So
I got another Manson-esque movie we need to watch at some point. I'm saving it, but Thou Shalt Not Kill Except.
Oh, okay.
Which stars Sam Raimi as the Manson-like cult leader.
Never seen it, so
yeah, it's something. It's fun.
Okay.
Yeah. So we cut to this family, and I actually have this written in my notes. I wrote, "Oh, great, a baby."
Yes, that's going to complicate things.
So we got 3 people in this cabin,
Yeah.
along with the baby.
It's the Powell family.
It is. It's the mother, Kathy,
Played by Deborah Kara Unger.
the son, Campbell,
Played by Nick Rue.
and a daughter-in-law, Samantha,
Played by Chelsea Ricketts.
and the baby, Zoe, played by a baby. And they're sitting there waiting for somebody. They're anxious. They're looking out the window. All this stuff.
Yeah.
And then we cut to a couple of skeezy-looking guys driving a car, listening,
Having a good time.
Having a good time, listening to some crappy heavy metal. And they get a flat, right? So they got to pull over and change the tire. But the driver is inspecting it, and there's like this big rip in there.
Yeah, it's not just a natural flat.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Someone slashed the tire.
Right. So they're like, "What the fuck is this?" And then this van pulls up. These masked dudes get out.
Just start fucking attacking them.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And then the skeezy guys start fighting too. The passenger's getting his ass kicked, but the driver in the leather jacket,
He clearly knows what he's doing.
yeah, he's kicking some ass until one of the masked dudes draws a gun,
Yeah.
and then it's over. They got him, they chloroform him, they throw him in the van and take off. They leave the other guy though.
And I like the ambiguity of this. We don't really know what's going on at first.
Right. Like, is this the cult? Is kidnapping someone or what? What's happening here? Right. So the van gets to the cabin. Turns out that these are the people are waiting for in the cabin.
Yeah.
So the douchey-looking guy, Campbell, he's like helping them get the dude, and the guy's wearing the leather jacket who they've abducted, and it turns out this is Justin.
Yes.
He is Campbell's brother.
Played by Ben Sullivan. I want to say I think he gives a great performance in this film.
He's better than the rest.
Yep.
I will say that. But
He,
then
he brings his A game.
I do think the acting is pretty weak in this movie. I will go ahead and say that.
Well, Stephen Dorff, though.
Dorff is fine.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a pro. He's a seasoned pro. He was in The Gate. This is like nothing to him,
Which he is the big talented one in the opening who's kicking ass.
Right. Yeah, we
When
find
they
out
do the abduction.
he's one of the masked men. Yeah.
He plays Jimmy Levin.
Yeah, he's the cult deprogrammer.
They have hired. We kind of get this backstory that Justin kind of became estranged from the family, ran off with a cult. They've been trying to get him back ever since.
Yeah, he's married to Samantha.
They have a kid.
Left for some reason because she's pretty hot. I wouldn't take off like that.
She's all right.
She's all right. Fuck you. You wouldn't kick her out of bed. But yeah, they're taking off his jacket. And they see he's got this big demon tattoo.
Yeah,
and
it's
stuff.
fucking epic.
Look, he's got scars on him, or he's been cutting himself, or someone has. They tie him to the chair.
And we get some little tidbits along the way as all this is going on. We learned that Jimmy used to be a soldier, fought in a war.
Yeah, he's got Semper Fi on his forearm. We found out that Justin's name, he doesn't like to be called Justin.
No, his name's Thanatos.
Yes.
Good name if you're going to take one.
I suppose so. A little on the nose, but, whatever. Yeah, he's Thanatos, and he says that, my real family is going to name me that, and they're going to come get me.
Yep.
They're going to come get me, and I'm going to watch you all die.
And it really, thesis statements the whole film right out the gate, because he basically says, they're going to come for me. You can let me go now, and I can go back to them. If you don't let me go, they will kill all of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Period, full stop.
At this point, I would just let him go.
Yeah. Yeah, why not?
Fuck this.
Which, again, there's different allegiances on this because Campbell, he kind of just doesn't want to even try this. He's sort of being propped up by his mother and father.
Right. Yeah, he's kind of had it with his brother, and it's cut your losses.
And so he
made his choice. Fuck him.
Yeah, he's sort of the voice of that, well, why are we doing this, really? And we learn a little more over the course of the film, but just to get it out now. So the parents are divorced.
Yeah.
That seems to have been a strain on the family.
Right. They each blame themselves for Justin turning out the way he did.
Yeah. And Samantha just wants, the father for her child, like any person would.
Yeah, we get a little backstory from Campbell talking about how Justin always seemed to be sort of fascinated by the horror and dark things and stuff like that. So,
and that's where I pulled on kind of the satanic panic angle, because it was so like, oh, you're into horror, oh, well, you're a Satanist.
Right.
Oh, you like heavy metal, well, you're a Satanist.
Yeah, you're a little creepy, you're a Satanist. Oh my God, people thought I was a Satanist in high school.
I got the same thing, man.
Jesus Christ. I'm reading a book on mythology. You think I'm a fucking Satanist?
It's like you wear a black shirt the same for a few days and see what happens.
Yeah, you listen to some Morbid Angel or something, suddenly you're a Satanist. What the fuck? Yeah. So so Jimmy is having the discussion with Justin. I'm sorry, Thanatos.
Yes.
And he's talking about how, you're following this cult leader. I get it. He's charismatic. He says you're special. He's just using you. And one of the quotes that this leader of this cult says, we never get a name of the cult, do we?
No, we don't. They never bring that up.
But like something apparently this guy says is, the unworthy will know unimaginable suffering, and there will be a bloodbath that will cleanse the earth. So, I mean, I guess this guy, Justin, is in MAGA. Donald Trump must be the cult figure they're talking about.
Well, again,
if he's not elected, there will be a bloodbath.
Well, again, that is the Manson thing, though, is he had to, like, yes, and himself to keep control. He concocted the whole, like, there's going to be this big race war.
Right.
Everyone's going to die.
Yeah.
We're going to come out on top.
Or the doomsday cults where it's like, oh, okay, well, it's not this date that I predicted in the world. It's actually next year. Yeah.
Always moving that goalpost.
Yeah. So Jimmy is like, you're just a tool of this dude, and Justin spits a bunch of blood at him.
Yeah.
And Jimmy's like, what, you bit your tongue? And then, like, this guy, this is what I'm saying. You're right. This guy's like a psychotic, shell-shocked ex-Marine, because he starts pouring booze down his throat and shit.
Kind of roughs him up a bit.
Yeah, it's like, damn, dude, is this really how you're going to bring him back?
Which, notably, he had the family out of the room for that, too. So.
Right, yeah, and he gets all violent and shit. So now it's starting to get dark outside. And Jimmy sends Samantha up to talk to Justin by herself, which does not sound like a good idea. No one should be alone with this fucker.
Despite not actually being a trained professional, Jimmy kind of has made his own routine of how this works.
Yeah.
Not cleverly, but it's kind of a thing where it sends each family member one by one.
Right.
And they're supposed to kind of reach out and reminisce and talk through with him. And then over the course, they'll kind of break down the walls and get to Justin inside.
But we got this guy who's tied up to this rickety chair. Who's already talking about killing them like piggies and shit like that.
Yeah, that's the first thing he says when they're all in the room and they tie him down. He's like, oh, they're going to slaughter you like pigs.
And it's like, I would not leave, this woman alone with this guy. Sorry. They can all talk to him together, And
it's like, Jimmy tells her, hey, don't get too close. But it's like, who's going to supervise her on this?
Right. So she Samantha's telling her that apparently she had told Justin that the baby would be better off if he wasn't in the picture. And she blames herself that he took off because of this.
She apologizes for that, and it's funny because again, this is like a testament to the acting of Ben Sullivan. It looks like he's sort of getting broken down by this, like it's reaching him. And she even says a thing of oh, you have Zoe, she has your eyes, and then he just snaps into the Thanatos persona.
That's one of my problems with this movie. I never really think that he is letting his guard down.
Well, no, I think that's why it's good. He's just playing with him. It's all a joke to him at this point.
Right, but it also makes it really predictable, especially as the movie goes along, which we'll get into.
Okay. Yeah, but she says something about you wouldn't let anything ever happen to Zoe, right? And he says, well, I wouldn't. The cult's gonna need babies.
Yeah, we like babies. Yeah. We need babies to reproduce, or to further the cult and all that stuff.
Which unnerves Samantha a little bit.
Right. So Jimmy and them are downstairs, and Andrew, the father, he sees someone sitting outside, by the swing set. And Jimmy goes out to investigate.
Oh, because notably, it's not relevant really, but just to say it, this cabin they're at is like a summer home place they kind of would go to
as kids.
When they were kids.
Right. So there's this girl out there wearing, I think it's supposed to be a fox mask. I think I wrote cat in my notes, but I was looking in the credits.
Okay, now she's pretty hot though.
Oh yeah, no, she's hot. Okay. We don't even see her face, but it's like, all right. Tell me more about this cult.
I mean, it seems like you get a cool animal mask and you get to wear black leather, so... You know, they made me think like they come from the same universe as Mandy. Kind of a little bit.
Yeah, I could see that.
They're like the Diet Coke of the biker gang in that.
Yeah, right. So Jimmy kind of chases off this girl, and she had been drawing some demonic-looking sign on a rock.
It's the symbol of the cult, which it matches one of the tattoos.
Yeah, on Justin.
That Justin has.
Yeah. So Jimmy's like chasing her down, trying to get to her, and he's got her. He draws a gun on her.
Oh yeah,
and she's just standing there. But he's kind of looking around and not paying much attention. And suddenly this wire snare comes down.
Yeah.
And like gets around his hands, so he drops his gun, and his hands are lifted up by the snare. And it really bugged me how this was done, because it doesn't show anyone above him.
Uh-huh.
You know, like a cult member hanging out on the tree with this snare. It's like it just happens. It's just like Deus Ex Machina. You know, it just comes down from the heavens.
I think this is the Saw franchise seeping in a little bit.
So he's bound. He can't move. So the Fox girl comes up and, you know, kind of twirling around all sexy and stuff, and just like slashes his stomach open.
Yeah. Guts start to spill out. They're just toying with him. And the family inside the cabin are kind of left in horror to realize that something has happened to him.
Yeah.
And that the cult is there.
Yeah. Yep, there's more people outside. People like wearing the bunny masks. They got axes and shit.
And see, I kind of like this because it feels like that's going to be the... Like, it seems like Jimmy's going to be like the driving force in the film because he's the very competent one.
Right.
And they sort of take him out first to, like, create a vulnerability.
Sure. Then they try to call the police. The phone line's dead, of course. And this is when I realized that we're still in the 80s, too.
Yeah.
And I got to complain about that. I don't think it sells the 80s era. Oh. It doesn't feel anything like the 80s. It was kind of... There's no other reason to set it in the 80s other than the fact they don't have cell phones. I think
Satanic panic angle and stuff like that.
Yeah, but something else that these guys, the cult does not look like they're from the 80s either. So they're wearing like off the rack Hot Topic clothes.
Hey, man, they're progressive. What can you say? We don't know what Papa Jackals got going on in his head.
Papa Jackal. Nice. Okay. So they cut the power too. Mm-hmm. And Justin's all like, oh, they've come for me.
And they do this cool thing, too, where they drive up some cars and, like, turn the lights on full blast.
Yeah.
And light up the cabin.
Right. So I will give them with this. The family starts, like, preparing for an assault.
Yep.
I'll give them this. Because they start, like, gathering what weapons they can. They start, like, boiling oil. You know, cool. They're getting ready for a siege. I like that. Perfect. Yeah. Remind me of that scene in the... Outlaw Josie Wells.
Oh, yeah. Love that film.
Yeah, it's great.
And again, this is another one of the times where we get some of the family strife, because Campbell immediately is like, let's just give him Justin. It's over.
Yeah, fuck this shit.
They're killing Jimmy out there. Mm-hmm. What are we supposed to do to them?
Yeah.
And both the mom and the dad kind of take that stance of like, you know, no, he's our family. We have to fight for him.
Right. And there's also some dialogue about how the closest neighbor is like a mile away or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because Campbell pitches, like, let me go and I can run.
I'll run up there and get them.
And get help.
They're like, no, don't go. They're going to kill you, blah, blah, blah. And Samantha says she has to change the baby's diaper and for some reason has to leave the room to do this. I don't know why. Doesn't seem like a very good time to separate herself from anyone else.
Yeah.
To his credit, Campbell goes with her. But again, I'm like, just fucking do it in the living room. It's okay. You know? In the middle of this siege, no one's going to care that you've got, you know, a kid on the kitchen table changing his diaper. Or her diaper. Okay, so, yeah, they're by the door, and Samantha's grabbed through the door window by one of the cultists. Kind of cuts her hand.
Yep.
And they throw it in or something, but it's like a piece of flesh, and it's got Jimmy's Semper Fi tattoo on it.
They carved it off of him.
Yeah. So then the mom wanders off like an idiot.
She does.
To the back of the house. I'm like, what the fuck are you people doing?
Well, let's be fair. The mom's a little... Kathy's not all there, I don't think.
Yeah.
She's been drinking a lot.
Yeah.
She seems very upset about this whole situation.
Yeah. the back door's rattling, and they hear a voice saying that it's Jimmy. So they open the door, and one of the cultists is like throwing Jimmy's body through it.
Yeah, they throw him in and they just charge on in.
Yeah, he comes in, but they're fighting him off, beating the shit out of him, out of the cultist. They got the cultist down. Turns out Jimmy's still alive, but dying. He has like Thanatos carved on his chest. Jimmy says it's the cult's fucking with them.
Mm-hmm.
And he says they want Justin to redeem himself.
Yeah.
And then he dies. Exit Stephen Dorff.
Thanks for your contribution.
I think it was like 2 days' work for him or something like that.
I'm sure he was well paid.
I hope so.
I hope so.
So then the family argues about what to do.
Yeah. And we kind of get like, this is like a little escalation point where it's like the family's getting more divided on things.
Yeah, we get some more backstory because the father admits, I was cheating on your mother.
Yeah.
And Campbell's like, I defended you.
Yeah, Campbell's real upset.
Mm-hmm.
We get a few more attempts. It's kind of like they send one person out and they're like, hey, go see if you can get in there and get to Thanatos. What? Someone comes on the roof and like comes in a window from upstairs.
Right.
And they have to charge up there and fight that guy off.
Yeah.
Which that's the guy who I think was the passenger in the car.
Right.
With Thanatos.
And that's when Andrew's like, oh shit, yeah, this is the dude he was with.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So he must have known about this place or something and they came after him.
We also get some cool interaction where the cult outside does like animal howls.
Yeah. And Justin's like responding and
he answers back. Cool vibe.
Hmm?
I'd hang out with a bunch of dudes and howl. Why not?
Sure, why not? Let's see. Yeah, so they're like trying to talk to Justin. He's like, "Oh, they're all going to kill you." And there's a scene where the mother's trying to get to him, and he's faking the chorus because she comes up close to him. And he bites off a bunch of her hair.
Yeah, he rips a chunk out.
Yeah. At this point, the father is like, "Okay, yeah, Campbell, you try to make her run to the neighbor's cabin." And let's see, Andrew takes Justin outside. He's still got him bound. He's like a fucking dog collar around him.
He's going to use that to make a distraction so that all the cult focuses on him.
Yeah.
And that way it gives Campbell the most opportunity to flee.
Yeah.
And he definitely won't screw it up somehow.
No, definitely not. But then all the cult members are kind of advancing on Andrew, and so he kind of starts backing up. And they get back in the house.
Which is a real tense thing where they get to the door, and inside, Kathy and Samantha are dealing with like another thing.
Yeah, because one of the cult members got in when Campbell ran out.
Yes. And so they're like, let me in. And then no one's at the door yet.
Right.
That's pretty intense. But man, Samantha, she takes charge here because she comes out. She had made like a makeshift torch earlier.
Yeah, she like burns the fucker with it.
Yeah.
So Campbell's running and he finds a bunch of cars.
Okay, so listen, let's go through this. So he knows the area. He knows where the farm is. He knows it's about a mile away.
Right.
Fucker, the second he sees a bunch of cars, he decides I'm going to take one of those cars.
I guess he thinks, I'll drive, but it'll be faster. But it's also like, it's obviously the cultist cars. Who else is it going to belong to?
He creeps up, and when he creeps up, he notices the cult is like up on the ridge.
Right.
So, yeah. So
he gets in, but there's like no keys. No. Not what I was expecting. He like finds one of the bunny masks in the car, and then he hears some noise outside, so he gets out and he hides underneath the truck.
I like this scene. It's pointless, but I like it.
Yeah, because the vehicles around him are moved around, and they just turn back on the truck and turn on their headlights. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, we know you're there, fucker. Come on out. So yeah, they grab him. And then the family's hearing commotion. They were looking outside, and Campbell is kind of strung up on the swing set. They got him tied up out there.
Very Hellraiser-esque.
Yeah.
He's like all wired up to it.
Mm-hmm. And they're like pouring gasoline on him and shit.
Yeah, Papa Jackal. Is
that what we're calling him?
Can I make that be a thing?
Sure.
Hashtag Papa Jackal.
He's got no other name. Papa Jackal sounds good.
Yeah, they just call him the lead cultist, and like when you look at Wikipedia or places like that. So I'm going with Papa Jackal.
I like that better.
He's a connoisseur of the controlled burn.
Yeah, right.
So he pours gasoline only on one hand, ignites that, lets it burn out.
Yeah.
Pours gasoline on the other hand, ignites that, lets it burn out. Really, really teasing this out for all it's worth.
He is. And Campbell's like yelling, "Hey, they'll let us live if we give up Justin."
Which they kind of think about it, and then I think it's the mom. She's like, "No, they're just making him say that."
Right. And and she's like, "I never really cared for Campbell anyway, so it's not a big deal."
I don't remember that part, but
It was inferred, subtext.
okay. Guess you picked up on something I didn't.
Yeah, so the mom's watching him get tortured, so she's about to break, and she goes outside, and we hear footsteps upstairs. So now the cult has another hostage because she goes out there.
Yeah. And kind of grief-stricken, Andrew's like, I gotta go out there and try to get him back.
Yeah.
And he has a cool like spear that they've made.
Yeah, they taped some knives up to the ends of fireplace pokers and stuff.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, Justin's talking to Samantha, and he's like saying, "Hey, let me go. I can go out there and save my parents."
Yeah.
And it's obviously a lie. But he tells her to run to the other cabin with Zoe and save themselves, and I'll go out there and talk to the cult and say, "Hey, let them go."
Meanwhile, Andrew's fighting for his life.
Yeah, he's out there getting his ass kicked.
He gets some good hits in. I think he drops a few.
He's putting up a fight, but he's outnumbered.
Yeah, there's no way.
Yeah, so they chop him up. They're cutting him pretty bad. And I did like this line because Papa Jackal comes up to him and says, "I'm the father."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Real fuck you, man.
Who's your daddy? Yeah.
So Andrew drops. Then they slit the throat of Kathy.
Yeah, the fox chick kind of dances up and slices her.
Mm-hmm. She drops.
Campbell just kind of dies.
Well, I mean, he's been burned like multiple times.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know that was life-threatening. I think he just gave up. Or maybe he's faking it.
I think they should have just lit him up completely.
Yeah, I do too.
That would have been cooler.
That would have been better. Kind of a Hills Have Eyes sort of thing.
Yeah. But they get this moment where, like, when Kathy hits the ground, she's face to face with Andrew, and they kind of have a final look between them before they perish, for whatever that's worth.
Yeah. But Justin's reunited with the cult, and we see Samantha running off with the baby.
Before he goes out there, I wanted to talk about that scene because it's interesting. Because he acts in that moment like he has regressed. Now, do you believe that or not?
No.
I don't think so either.
No,
I think he's just doing what he has to do to get back out there.
Right, yeah. Now, I think it would have been more interesting if they sold that more. If it had us questioning, maybe he really has, maybe he is conflicted. And it's fine if he's really not, if it's just like a trick.
Yeah.
But you never once buy it. It would have been so much more interesting if there was a bit more nuance there.
But he does have a final moment with the kid. He kind of like goes by and like rubs his face.
Yeah. But I thought, that was all part of the act, right? But he bows before the leader, does the whole kiss the hand thing.
Kneel before Papa Jackal, man.
That's right. And Samantha's running out, and she's on the street, she's on the road. She sees a car coming up.
She does the same fucking thing that the brother-in-law does.
Right. She's waving for help, and we see behind her that there's a cultist. And then
smash cut.
Movie ends.
Yep.
Yeah, at least the movie does not overstay its welcome.
It's a tight little, 80 minutes or something.
85 minutes. Yeah.
Gets in, gets out. Bada
bing, bada boom. All right. What do you got on this movie?
I got lots of notes. So this sat around for a while. The writer, Jared Rivet, he originally composed the screenplay in 2006.
Wow.
Yeah. In May of 2013, it got announced under the title Sacrilege, and Darren Lynn Bousman was attached to direct it. Red Sea Media got the rights to distribute the film internationally, and it sat for a while. Eventually, Bousman departed, and they brought in Kevin Greutert. And I think they brought in Jared Rivet to kind of tone back up the script and make some changes.
It's just interesting, because I would like to see the original script. Because if it was written that early, it predates some of the movies that I'm thinking it's ripping off horribly.
Okay, interesting, yeah.
So it would have been interesting to see that original script. Because right now we have no way of knowing how much was inspired by all the other films.
True. But yeah, so to talk about some of the people involved. So Greutert, he has a good horror history. Like I said, he edited the original Strangers. He was the editor on the first 5 Saw films. And he edited Part 8, which is called Jigsaw. He directed Part 6, Part 7, which is known as Saw 3D, and now Saw X, or Part 10. And he's coming back for Saw 11, so...
Mm-hmm. No, I haven't seen those. I can't speak to the quality of those,
Okay,
but
well,
I will say he's a good editor.
He is a good editor. And especially for Saw, he really nails the, really quick cuts, kind of frantic going around. And there's a little bit of that in Jackals, for sure. I do want to talk some about those Saw films, so... I think for when he became a director for them, to be that late in the franchise, I think that the ones he did were surprisingly good. Especially 6. That's one of my favorites of the post Jigsaw being dead arc of it all. If you don't know the 6th one, that's the one where it focuses on an insurance company, and it's CEO and some of the members. And the lead guy gets put through different games to save the lives of his coworkers. And then it has that super mean-spirited ending where he gets to the final thing, and the final game is that another family whose loved one had died because they denied insurance for him get to decide if the CEO guy lives or not.
Nice.
And you can guess how that happens.
Yeah. Thumbs down.
Saw 3D, that was going to be the ending of the franchise for a while, so it went really super big. Brought in the crazy twist of bringing back Dr. Gordon, which was super fun. You're a devotee of the Saw lore. And you can go back a few episodes and listen to me talk about Saw X. And I will say, to be 10 films deep, it was pretty damn fun. So,
all right.
Good work there. Stephen Dorff, like you said, The Gate. I think people of my age range would also say Deacon Frost from Blade.
Yep.
Very iconic. He was in Cecil B. Demented, which we mentioned
That's right.
an episode or two ago.
John Waters.
And it's a deeper cut, and it's not a great film, but he's also in Fear.com.
Oh, God, that was a piece of shit.
Hell yeah.
Fucking 90s horror.
They shot this film in 15 days over the course of a December. And then I think they came back the next summer for 2 other days of shooting to get some extra footage. The cinematographer, Andrew Russo, he plays that killer in the opening sequence, the one that we're POV'd.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's kind of cool. He has some other horror cred. A lot of it's lesser known stuff. But there is that anthology, Nightmare Cinema. And he shot some of the segments for that. He did The Projectionist, Mirari, and Dead.
Okay.
That's pretty cool. There's a little info about that earlier script, an earlier draft of it. Apparently, the cult kind of did more. In this film, they're mostly standing around being ominous.
Right.
Apparently, in an earlier draft, they actually did chanting, and their outfits were more just black robes, very satanic cult look to them.
See, that would look more 80s.
They kind of went more for the biker gang vibe, and then they wanted to cut back the chanting, so they thought that was maybe a little too cliche, a little too on the nose,
Cults chant. That's what they do. That's what they're known for.
And the earlier draft also, the film started with the abduction of Justin. The Halloween POV thing was an addition they made.
Okay.
Which I kind of like. It kind of gets you in the mood.
Yeah, it doesn't really have anything to do with the main movie, but...
There's a badass song in this film that they're rocking out to on the radio before they abduct Thanatos.
You think it's badass?
I like it. Why not? It's called To Kill Without Emotion, and it's by December Wolves.
December Wolves.
Both a fitting song name and a fitting band, I think, for this film.
That's a cool name.
Yeah. Jackals was sold at Marché du Film. And it was introduced by the Highland Film Group, and Shout Factory immediately purchased the rights to distribute it in North America. And as I think I mentioned last time, it pretty much just went right to home media and streaming. Jackals has received mostly negative reviews. I think
about to receive another one.
I think on Rotten Tomatoes, it's got about a 44%. Metacritic, it's got a 33 out of 100. I always pull, some popular commentary. So we've got Chuck Bowen of Slant Magazine gave it 1.5 out of 4. And said of it, there's a reference to Straw Dogs, but Jackals does not have the Sam Peckinpah film sense of give and take.
No, it does not.
In which characters on both sides of the moral equator are allowed to surprise us with their ingenuity.
That would have been nice.
Rick Bentley in the Miami Herald wrote, Jackals can't scare up anything original, and then went on to say, each scene in Jackals echoes similar moments in other recent horror films, The Purge, Wrong Turn, House of the Dead, Green Room, and so many other titles.
Nope. Concur.
And then he also, of course, said that this may be the most on-the-nose comment to make, is that the cult members look like they came from the film You're Next, with the animal masks.
Right.
John DeFore, the Hollywood Reporter, called it a competent but completely forgettable cult versus family flick. You're just nodding your head so hard right now.
I am.
And yeah, that's really all of the all we got up there in the universe about this film.
Okay. Yeah, you found
Until you and me.
and our opinions.
Yeah.
Put that out in the ether. Okay, well, this is your pick.
Yeah.
So I guess you should talk about it first.
All right, I'll shoot my shot. So, things I want to say. I quite love the score in this film. It's by Anton Sanko. I would say it's kind of run-of-the-mill, which seems like a criticism.
It doesn't stick out to me.
But I think that when it works really good. And there's this one cue. There's like this big industrial, like, that goes on. Mm-hmm. Really like how that feels, and it feels like it's mixed well and plays well in the film.
Okay.
Sanko, he also composed Ouija, the first one. And I would argue that maybe the score of that is probably about the only good thing about that film.
I never saw the first one. I saw the Mike Flanagan sequel.
That one's excellent.
That's great.
Start to finish. But cool composer. I'm cool for more of him.
All right.
Because we've got to talk about the ending a little bit, right? I think most would say it's abrupt and ambiguous. I don't think it's that ambiguous.
It's not ambiguous. There's nothing ambiguous about it.
I think it's very obvious. Like, she's not going to get away. She's not escaping.
Right.
They never had a chance.
Right.
If they ever had a chance, it was letting him go right when he first said, "Hey, let me go."
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
And that's kind of like part of the drama of the film, and maybe some of the horror is that, like, these are all damaged people, and who can't fix their own situation, and in wanting to try to fix that, they have put it on Justin, and if we can fix him, everything else in our lives will be better. And that will be like that victory to pull them into a better place.
Right.
And they kind of become so devoted to that idea that they get lost and can't really assess the situation for what it is. I feel like that's a theme of the film, maybe, and it's maybe a little of a harsh message, but I like it. A lot of obvious references to be made of the film that it feels maybe a little derivative, perhaps. I think definitely it feels like kind of his stab at the strangers, which again he edited.
Absolutely.
And it has some of that same vibe too of, like, I guess, violence for no purpose, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, there is a purpose when they're trying to get their, member back.
Right. But they could just break in there and take them.
It wasn't just because they were home. It's because they took, they took Thanatos from them.
And a lot of those movies that got referenced, they're more modern, but there are some classic kind of vibes. Like Halloween, you picked that up right away from the intro.
Yeah.
I think most would probably.
Right. Or Black Christmas, if you really want to go back to the beginning.
True. I feel like a lot of the inside the cabin part with them preparing and stuff, that feels very Night of the Living Dead.
Oh, sure.
The one location, the one house.
Any Siege movie, you're going to get the whole Night of the Living Dead type vibe.
So, okay, you clench your ass, Jason, because you're going to hate this. So, this is what I really want to say about this film. Mm-hmm. All those critical reviews, it's garbage, whatever, forgettable. That's what they say. If you go on Letterboxd, you're just going to see 1 star, 1.5, constant, all down the list. Mm-hmm. All of them just saying, "Hey, this is worthless."
Right.
And it's not the greatest film ever made.
No.
I'll give that. But I say worthless. Worthless. It's unoriginal a little bit. But I think it's competently made.
Okay.
At most levels.
Okay.
And so take this and compare it to something like, say, Muck. I think Muck is fun. But its cracks really show. Even when I can say I enjoy Muck, I can look at it and be like, oof. So much of this is very painfully constructed.
May I interject something quickly?
Sure.
I would rather watch Muck 100 times over than this movie.
Oh my god. Okay. And again, I want to shout out Ben Sullivan. I think he's great as Justin in this film. He's easily the best part. He does a good job.
He's good.
So I want to conclude on this. I think that this film, to me, was a reminder that I think sometimes we can get lost on that high horse, right? Mm-hmm. Chasing the dragon for the next great film, the next John Carpenter, the next, like, A24 darling that's going to revolutionize everything and be like, oh, this is a new thing. The next, talk to me, per se. Mm-hmm. We're like, dude, this is amazing and nothing's going to be the same now.
Right.
But in reality, not every film is that or can be that.
Nor should it.
Nor should it. And so, as I say this as someone who is equally guilty of doing this and also forgetting this message, but, sometimes a film can just be a film and it can be what it is and it can be fun, and that's all there is to it. So, at the end of the day, with Jackals, they set out to make this film. They had no ambitions about it being some, award-winning greatest horror film ever that will, 40 years from now, still be defining the genre.
Sure.
They wanted to make a solid horror flick about a cult and the dysfunctional breakdown of a family told through the vehicle of a home invasion horror story.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they did that, and I think they did it well, and I like it. I gave this fucker 4 stars.
4 stars? Oh my god. You're insane, sir.
All right.
Okay, are you done?
I think I am done.
Well, allow me to retort.
If anyone is still listening, you can now hear Jason's retort.
I too have a prepared written statement.
Okay.
Okay, my opinion on this film. I do believe that it is too derivative without adding anything worthwhile. The gore is tame, the scare is non-existent, and there are 0 surprises. The downer, edgy ending is seen a mile away and isn't shocking or depressing. It's just inevitable. As I mentioned before, I don't think it really captures the 1980s. There's no point in setting it then, other than the fact they didn't want them having cell phones. To that I say, okay, what are they going to do? They call the cops. Cool. Cops come. They kill them too, Problem solved. It's not an issue.
That's not going to fit in 85 minutes.
Dude, you know how long it takes cops to get anywhere? Especially if they're out in the country. Yeah, it doesn't look like the 80s. The cult members didn't look like they came from the 80s. Like I mentioned, they've got like the, off the rack hot topic ensembles.
Can't believe you're going to sit here and besmirch Papa Jackal.
He's not my daddy. Yeah, they're not, the cult isn't scary or intimidating. If anything, the Fox chick's pretty hot. I think the masks make them look like Donnie Darko cosplay rejects.
Oh, man.
Although, I do dig the cult leader's Papa Jackal's mask.
Yeah,
because
it's awesome.
It's got this Anubis kind of thing going.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool. I think the characters are paper thin and shallow.
Shallow and pedantic.
You never believe it when Justin pretends to care about his parents or to get free. He's just doing it to get free by Samantha. You're never tricked. If they had Justin seriously vacillating between loyalty to the cult and his family, that would have added a lot more depth and drama to it. Also, they could have had the family turning on each other more. More secrets are revealed. People generally want to get rid of Justin to save themselves. I mean, there's a lot of missed opportunity here. And I don't like to criticize a movie for what it's not. But when I'm given so little, and I think that there's so much more they could have done with it, it's frustrating. As the other critic said, I think there's way too many recycled elements from like The Strangers, You're Next, The Purge, or any other home invasion, siege movie. We've seen it all before. This does nothing new. Watch any of those for a superior experience. And if you want a much more original and thoughtful cult movie, watch Martha, Marcy, May, Marlene.
Oh, hey, I love that movie.
From 2011. Yeah. Yes.
Great film.
That, it's apples and oranges, And that movie's from Sean Durkin. And also check out The Rental from 2020 that he directed. Excellent movie. This does not get talked about enough. We might have to do it here.
Maybe we should cover that one.
I think maybe we will. So, yes, I was rather disappointed with this movie. I think it could have been so much more. Even if I just got better kills, like more gore, I would have been happier. I got to go with 1.5.
Woo! Okay, well, you're right there with the professional critics. So.
I am.
All right, cool.
I am. So, yeah, this one's a miss for me.
Well, hey, it's a tale of two opinions, so
it is.
The best thing you can do, listener, is go watch it for yourself and see how you feel. Unless you seem so repulsed after our discussion of it that you perhaps think you maybe never need to see it, which is also okay.
Check it out and let us know how right I am.
Well, perhaps. Yeah.
I don't know.
It's on Tubi, so hey.
It's on Tubi. What do you got to lose?
What's it worth, though? What, an evening at home? You're not doing anything. Come on. You listen to this podcast.
Yeah, what are you doing with your life, huh? So
we've reached the end.
That was Jackals.
That was Jackals. Fucking Jackals. Gotta stand my man, Kevin Greutert. I'll see you in a year, buddy, for Saw 11. Keep doing what you're doing, because it's working for one guy.
Hey, Dustin loves it.
Yeah, that's the end.
That's the end of genre exposure.
It's the end of genre exposure.
This movie did it. It's over.
It's the end of everything. It's the end of your life, end of my life, end of all lives.
No, it is not.
The show must go on.
That's right.
It must always go on. We got another listener episode. That's where we're at now.
Yeah, man.
Yep.
What are we watching?
Well, I thought since last time you kind of pulled from the vault one that we had wanted to do for a long time, but had been waiting on, I thought I would follow suit.
Okay.
So I have plucked for us another one that we've sat on. We've had this since the first year we've done the podcast.
Wow.
And I've still never watched it because...
I haven't either.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I just kept putting it off because I was like, I want my first experience to be the time that I talk about it on air. Mm-hmm. We are going to check out, from 2018, directed by Matthew Holness, Possum.
Yes.
You're going to know the poster. If you see it, it's got like a bag, and there's some like spidery looking legs coming up out of it.
It's a cool poster.
Very badass poster.
I've been wanting to watch this one for a while.
I don't even want to say much about it. One, I don't know a lot about.
Yeah, I don't know. I know it's about a puppeteer, and that's it.
I know.
I don't think his name's Toulon.
No, I don't think there's little puppets here, but it's supposed to be a pretty weird film.
Yeah,
so
pretty
we'll
original.
see what's going on.
So I'm looking, especially after this movie, I'm looking for something original.
And you, listener, can join us in this. It's on Tubi, I believe.
It's on Tubi. You can watch it for free.
It's on Screenbox as well if you're subscribed there.
Got it.
They're pretty good for stuff like that.
You can rent it for like $4 on Amazon.
Widely accessible. I'm excited to get into it next time.
As am I.
Otherwise, you need to be messaging us, dear listener. Give us your movie recommendations. Feed the beast. We need more. We always need more. It can be weird little horror films like Possum. It could be shitty, forgotten modern horror films like Jackal. It could be whatever you want it to be.
He admitted it. He said it was shitty.
Give us I'm doing a bit here.
Okay.
It could be, whatever, fantasy film, sci-fi. We do it all here, and we love it all.
Just please no romantic comedies, please.
Make Jason watch a romantic comedy.
Fuck that, no.
I'm going to manifest it.
No.
And, let us know what you think of Jackals, if you've seen it, where you are, how you feel.
How bad do you think it is?
Yeah, just let us know how you're doing. Are you doing good?
Yeah.
I hope you're doing good.
We care. We want to know.
We're doing pretty good, and we hope that you're doing good. We're always happy to hear what you've been watching, and you can tell us all these cool things by hitting us up on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Email us at genreexposure@gmail.com. Or just, throw it out there. Just in the aether, maybe it'll reach us. You don't know. You don't know. We're always listening.
Like us on your streaming platform of choice.
You can, yes, and we don't say it often because I think it's annoying, but
it is. Smash that like button and subscribe.
God damn it! No. If you've got a podcasting platform that you enjoy listening to us on, maybe think about hitting that old review button.
Yeah, give us a few stars. Hit a review.
Give us some stars. Type a few words.
If you hate us, give us 1 star. Tell us why we suck.
1 star. They covered Jackals. Fuck these guys. No, I think that Jackals, in the greater scheme of things, will be the least of our crimes.
Oh, absolutely.
Whenever you and I face the firing squad, that will be but a passing thought on people's minds.
You're upset about Jackals?
Everybody, take care of yourselves. You have been listening to Genre Exposure.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
You're listening to the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, home to hundreds of hours of free podcast entertainment. The shows on this network all have a common goal: providing you with the best discussions about movies and other forms of entertainment media. The PFPN hopes to fill your earholes with audio joy. Visit our website with links to all the other amazing shows at www.thepfpn.com. Thanks for listening.